Um, Obviously, whenever we come in here, it's typically this type of battle, regardless of where teams are in the standings. It's obviously an important game for us, first and foremost of what we're still chasing, and then obviously it's important for our guys that are from here, and the alums and all those that we have in this area. So it's I thought we were good at times. I thought we were much better in the second half, taking care of the ball, which was important, and getting to the free throw line, and be able to find a way to handle and counter all the switching, which was where the fouls racked up, on their part. So really good job on Garcia, to hold him to 14 points on 17 shots. And all three guys, I thought, for the most part, did a pretty good job on him, that were on him. And you get on the road, you find a way to close it out. And we were able to do that and get stops when we needed to, and score, obviously, to extend that lead once they had caught us. That was really the only flurry where I thought we were defensively disjointed, was in that flurry where they got some 2 or 3 threes in a row before that 12-minute media. So, happy for our guys and obviously our group, and now we'll get back and get ready for regular season finale.
Greg,
Nick, go ahead.
I know you say sometimes, stats might not jump off the page, and early it felt like Jack was making an impact like that, maybe not with numbers, then late, obviously, tying bucket, turnaround, fadeaway, keeping the tip. Just how does that kind of speak to his impact and really his mentality in a place like this at such a young age?
Yeah, it's first time playing here for him. He's a freshman, so for him to come in here, I thought even early he was going too fast, and he was wound up, and he's always playing with a lot of energy and playing fast, but I thought he over pursued some things early, was going a little bit too fast, but settled in, and his activity obviously was huge in terms of buckets, deflections, things he does, with his, like I said, his activity is probably the best word I can come up with for him right now, and we needed him, with Tanjay in some foul trouble. He had to play, a lot of minutes, and he was able to produce and help us.
There's a stretch where Jack and Carter seem to have bring you guys home.
Right.
So I guess the benches kind of lack the spark of Kamari to be starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
How important was it for them to kind of?
Yeah, it was huge. It was big for Gilmore specifically. I'm yelling shoot and he shot fakes and drives it into a one-legger, so he knew what he was doing. But yeah, both those guys, I think, just giving us a boost off the bench, and from a scoring standpoint, and I thought Gilmore was, quite frankly, maybe our best matchup against Garcia, just because of his strength and his ability to move, and he's more experienced, So I thought, for the most part, we did a decent job on Garcia, who's a really good player, and but the bench, those two guys, and were important for us.
Greg, obviously in this, the scheme of the season, this was, just can you speak to, obviously it's key to beat Minnesota at any point,
Mm-hmm.
with it being a rival, but just can you speak to how important it is to put yourself in position to have a chance to get that double bye, and this win does that?
Yeah, that's important. That's important. Obviously, continue to push for higher seedings in the NCAA tournament. But I think first and foremost, above all that, this was the next game, and we don't make a big deal about it being being Minnesota. Just like I don't say anything different when we play Michigan or Michigan State with Blackwell, or Nebraska with Tanjay, or any. It's the next game, but we know it's always been a hard-fought game, and they've been playing pretty well. They've winning at Nebraska is not easy, and they beat Michigan in here, they beat Oregon in here, so I think from that standpoint, our guys understood what we were in for tonight, and that we were gonna, especially on their senior night, we're gonna have to play really well or fight and scrap. It wasn't always pretty, and it wasn't smooth, but the one thing about this group is they've developed a toughness to them and a callousness to them that they can, when things aren't clicking completely, they'll find other ways to win.
What's the difference between two halves and turnovers, and just the way you guys were able to kind of control it?
Yeah, I think we handled their physicality well early. I thought we let it bother us. I thought we didn't, we were driving and playing off one foot and driving and being loose with the ball. Sometimes going too fast, sometimes trying to thread a needle and throw it and just keep moving the ball. We were trying to precisely pick apart the switching at times, and it made us a little stagnant. When you get stagnant, you get hesitant. When you get hesitant, you have a chance, or typically you make more mistakes. So just that was the main message at halftime. Be stronger with the ball, play off 2 feet, chin it, you know, and let's get the shots we need to get, and we did a much better job, obviously, the second half of taking care of it.
You talked about maybe staying earlier or at times. Just how impactful was Blackwell being aggressive, taking it to the cup, as you often talk about, whether he was scoring or just drawing fouls and getting to the line?
Yeah, I mean, it was important. It was huge. You know, I think the time you can, specifically with how, you know, we can spread people out and move people to be able to attack some of those closeouts and attack some of those gaps. You know, John obviously did a lot for us tonight. You know, he was big, specifically with obviously with Tanjay being in some foul trouble and not really being in a great rhythm, and Max being out. You know, there's a little bit more that he has to bear, and he did a good job of it.
There was you know, that stretch in that final 7-8 minutes when, you know, after they tied the game, I think they were like at least maybe 2-3 backdoor plays where
Mm-hmm.
you know, for easy buckets at key points in the game. Just can you speak to what kind of at that juncture, you know, makes those kind of plays work, and you know, what went into that?
Yeah, that's just guys playing, right? And that's not a called play. That's not a set. That's just playing basketball within our system. You know, the spacing is good. They understand if you're overplayed or getting pressured, back cut, put pressure on the rim. And it's up to the ball handler to obviously find them, you know, and are we playing off 2 feet? Are we delivering it where it needs to be? So that's, you know, quite frankly, it's the, I think the comfort they have playing that comes with experience, right? And Janicki hit Blackwell, I think, on one, and I don't know who else hit Blackwell on the other one. You know, but it's just that comes organically from guys just playing well off each other, and the unselfishness and the understanding of how to play without the ball, which sometimes is a lost art in today's world. It's so ball in your hands dominant that the ability and recognition of when to back cut and how to do it and how to get separation is something that we obviously drill and work on, but you got to be able to do it when the lights are on in the heat of the moment, which our guys did a good job of it.
Was that something that Minnesota was vulnerable to? Because, I mean, you had a couple out of bounds plays too that
Mhm.
were able to beat the backdoor.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, switching can lead into that sometimes, and sometimes when the shot clock gets winding down, you know, the offense, the crowd has a tendency to get anxious for the offense, right? But the defense also gets a little more amped up. Like we gave up one to Rigsby on a out of bounds play where we got two. We almost had him do a 5-second call, and all of a sudden he breaks loose under the basket. Well, we got a little too anxious running out with him to the 3-point line and got outside of him, and he back cut us to the rim. So, you know, it's a time and a feel type of thing. So, you know, just in taking advantage of it. And that's, again, just understanding how to play. If you have an opportunity to slip, some of them are scripted, some of them happen organically in terms of the slips to the rim and those things on out-of-bounds plays.
What about for Coach?
He might not have scored, but Kamari, 5 assists, no turnovers, 32 minutes, I think second most on the team. Just how did he kind of provide a steadying influence offensively when you guys needed him to?
Yeah, I think he was, you know, important. He made a mistake or two. We went under on Patterson in the second half when they got the threes going a little bit, and he was the first one to recognize that we needed, all right, well, let's change that and let's start going back over. But yeah, I mean, he's just a steadying voice. He's a calming voice. He's a leading voice in those timeouts. When you know, whether we were trying to extend the lead, they had made a run back at us to get it tied. I mean, he just stays the same and understands just the little things will help us win this game. And you know, he's, even though the littlest guy on the floor, he talked about rebounding ad nauseum in the timeout. So, you know, it's good that he can contribute, even though he doesn't score. He made a lot of contributions that help us tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
All good.